And so when Neil came to me, he goes, I want you to play James. I said, man, thank you. Who's James? And he goes, the guy with the thing, the buddy boy. I was like, oh.
Please welcome to the stage, it's the wonderful Troy Baker! Louder, let's go! Keep it going!
No, for the next hour. Like, don't stop. Yep. We'll wait. Peely! I have been looking for you. Can we sit down?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I want to know, show of hands, if you didn't go home, you just stayed here last night. Okay, great. Good for you. See, Kel, we're praying for you.
Someone's hand just went.
Just kind of up, you don't want a minute? We got a guy far. This is what I like to do the first time I sit down at at a panel.
What's your process?
I just want to take them all in for a second.
Okay.
We got some people that were like, I'm dipping my toe into this water. This is your first con ever. Show of hands. Okay. Go. Look around you. I want you to find the weirdest, craziest person. That's you next year. You get one free pass. And then the next one, you're like, who's ever been to the Ren Fair? Ever been to the Ren Fair? All right.
Yep. So
they strategically place the alcohol in that fair. So you walk in, you get your ticket, you get it. You know what? Of course, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, but we'll have a little bit of mead just to be on brand. And so you get that first drink, and all you've had is a donut, and it's hot because it's August in LA. And then next thing you know, you're like, all right, I'll buy a shirt. I walked out looking like I was Johnny Depp's stunt double from Pirates. It was insane. My walk was different. My talk was different. What is your name? Your name? Hi. Hillary?
Hillary.
Thank you very much. For Hillary, I'm going to be the worst part of her day today. I really do appreciate you. Thank you very much. So anyway, that's me. Happy Sunday, guys. I don't know why you guys are here at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Happy Sunday.
Woof. Happy Sunday.
So did you make a character for your Ren Fair kind of vibe?
I was absolutely a spice merchant.
Oh, okay. Did you have a name?
Maybe.
What would your spice merchant?
Well, the problem is that I chose a name. Number one, acting choice.
Okay.
Or acting advice. Make sustainable choices. Because I made a choice that I thought was like, oh, this is wonderful, and it's alliterative, and this is creative. I don't remember what it was. I'm vamping until I can maybe come up in my mind. But I do remember this. As we progressed throughout the fair, and as I progressed in my level of drunkenness, my name just became a bunch of consonants. Excuse me. How do you even sign that? That's perfect. Yeah. You have to add some physicality to it.
And coincidentally, a great Johnny Depp impression.
Wonderful Johnny Depp impersonation.
A brilliant Johnny Depp impression. I kind of like I always like to call characters really crap, boring names, like Kevin. Just Kevin, the spice merchant.
Gary is always one of my go-to. Are there any Garys in the audience? Okay, good.
Oh,
Gary's.
Any Kevins? I'm sorry if I offended any Kevins.
That's because you're from the UK.
Yes.
He's a real Kevin.
Oh, Kevin, mate.
Yeah, Kevin. But don't be a Kev right now, man.
Gavin.
You know, Gavin's a different one. I know a bunch of Gavins. Gavin's always the guy that's like, hurry up, Gavin. Come on. We're not going to wait all day.
So what's a common name in America then? I always thought it was like Brad.
Brad is a good. Brett right now. Brad. Chad would probably be our Kevin. Wouldn't you agree? If there's any Chads in here, we love you. It's not your fault. It's your parents.
Okay, so Chad.
Going back to Johnny Depp.
Okay.
I think about this. When Johnny Depp did Pirates, Johnny Depp was not Johnny Depp. He was Johnny Depp. He was the person that you remembered from The Thing, but he had just come off of Ninth Gate. Who saw that movie? 3, exactly. And this is what I love. Can I tell an inside baseball? I had a meeting with Disney this week, nothing specific, and talking to their casting person, he goes, when Avengers came out, Robert Downey Jr. was down and out. He's in actor jail. Chris Hemsworth had just come off of Australian Dancing with the Stars, and Tom Hiddleston was doing a show in the West End. This was a time when we didn't necessarily love the actor, but we fell in love with the character. And that's what I want to see us come. And that's honestly what I love. Look at me segueing back into what we should be talking about. This is what I love about what I do. There's so many people. My favorite thing for someone to say is when they come up, they go, I had no idea that was you. That means that I did my job as an actor and I put the character first, and hopefully I hid behind it well enough that you didn't even know it was me. All you saw was this character. And I think we're coming back to a time where TV and film is going to start doing that, where it's not, oh, we got the guy from The Thing, but we got this new actor, we found this new character. And I say that to my own detriment. I've had a hell of a run. And if it stops tomorrow, I've got nothing but gratitude. But I want for the next role to be someone from here, someone you've never heard of before. Yeah. Or me and you had no idea that it was me. That's what I want. And we're off and running.
Love it. Totally professional, darling.
Yes,
love it.
completely,
love it.
absolutely.
Love it work, Troy.
Yes, thank you so very much. Yes.
You know, you saying that, I hope that happens because I think, for me anyway, we entered a time where all I was being told was, you need more followers, you need more this, you need, like, it was all numerical or fan base, you know, you need to have a huge fan base. But there's so many people out here with different talents.
Okay, what's the number one thing that you think drives making art? Anybody out here? Number one, shout it out. Number one thing that makes people passion, okay?
Yes.
Passion. What is the largest hurdle to making art? Money.
Time.
God, you're a star student.
Totally.
That's not a plant, by the way.
Got my stickers, A+, A+.
Passion is the number one thing that makes us make art. Money is the thing that keeps us from making art. For all of the artists that we respect, the things that we respect for them are their talent, their vision, their creativity, their voice. The ones that we don't respect, we say they're just in it for the money. If every conversation that we're having about making art is how we can better monetize it, capitalize on it, we're not talking about making art. We're talking about business, and that's okay. But there's a conversation that's happening right now that's specific to this, and the only thing that is driving the argument is money. If you want to get into this to do the money, dude, there are a million other ways that you should make money. Yeah. If you want to make art, suck it up, Buttercup. It's not about the money. Yeah. Because there will be times when you make none. And then there will be times when you make a lot of it. And you better be able to manage both of those equally. And with both equanimity and passion in art, but not about the money.
Yeah. Papa Troy has spoken.
Woof.
You're right.
Woof.
You're right, though.
This industry owes me absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. I'm not owed, deserved, should get any of it. On paper, I am the least qualified person to be on this stage. The only reason why you're sat there is because something that I was in, something that I did, moved you, and that's it. That's the only reason. You have no financial gain for being here. You get nothing off of being here other than maybe something that I say today moves you as well. That's it. That is why we participate in art. That is why we make art. That is why we appreciate art. It's because it moves us, period. Stop making it about the money, please.
But regardless of social media and modern times,
yes,
human beings will always be storytellers.
Always.
And that's why we're here. That's why you guys are here, because you've enjoyed Troy's work as a storyteller and it's connected with you somehow.
Yes.
And that's why we're sitting. It's like, and this is almost like a campfire. We're telling stories.
Absolutely.
Again. So when people say things like, you need more of this and more of that, the business side, fine. But we're human.
You know what you need more of? Mistakes.
Yes.
That's what you need more of. That's all that you are lacking is mistakes. And the reason why mistakes will be your highest commodity is because that means that you tried something. Mm-hmm. My successes have taught me absolutely nothing, but my mistakes have been my greatest teachers.
Oh, yes. God, I'm thinking about some of mine now, which takes me to my next question.
Okay.
Love a segue. Love a segue. Thank you, Troy. Decisions from your past that changed your future. I wanted to ask you that question because I ask it on my podcast, Hot Pod Time Machine.
Good plug.
Thanks, guys. Available on YouTube now. Thanks. And so we talked about this yesterday in the green room. And a decision. I mean, we make a myriad of decisions every day. But is there one that you can think of that really changed your future somehow?
The one that comes to mind is so funny because if we had done this yesterday, it would have been a different answer.
Of course.
Okay, so I'm going to be as brief as I can. It's not going to be about work, but it will dovetail into that. So you guys, are you here for the ride? Can you buckle in for the... Okay, cool. I had a friend. Have you ever had to break up with a friend? Okay. You can break up with a partner fairly easily in comparison to breaking up with a friend because social normatives say that you should probably only have one of those. And you can have as many friends as you can possibly carry. It's like, it's like your inventory in an RPG. A good one has limits, but a bad one just like, I don't know, just keep throwing them in there. You have 1,000 arrows. Why not? So I had a point in my life where in 2016 where there was someone in my life that, I introduced as my brother. And I finally realized, this is not a healthy relationship. And I have to draw a boundary and I have to end it. And so I excommunicated this person from my life in a loving way. And I was very clear. I said, just want you to know, I think this friendship has run its course. And there's enough between the two of us where I don't want to be your friend anymore. And we can't do this anymore. This person laid into me, how dare you, who do you think you are, everything else. And I was like, I have to close the door. Hopefully one day we can reconcile, but at this point, this is what I have to turn around, I have to walk away. I had never done that before. What I didn't realize is that this person was kind of the linchpin to my entire community. And tacitly, I had drawn a line in the sand that says, are you team me or team him? And what's funny is the unthinkable happened. They chose him. Because I had a large social cost. So I was the less expensive choice, or he was the less expensive choice. I was a more valuable choice. So all of a sudden I found myself in a complete upheaval socially, and it brought a lot of pain, but it also brought a lot of opportunity for me to work on who I was as a person, to relitigate my past, to look back at other relationships that I'd had, to really kind of reflect and go, why do I find myself continually in this pattern? And next thing I know, it's now 2020, and we're locked up in our houses, and I put a mask on and I go to the store, and there's about a 3/4 of a mile trip from my house to the Gelson's. And I go through this one light. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but like it was yellow, but it was orange. It was at such a quantum level of shifting colors between light spectrums. It should have been red. And I was like, man, that was close. I wonder what would have happened if I had gone through there just a minute or a second later. And then I started rewinding the clock and going, man, I wonder what would have happened if I had not done this. And I just kept going back and back and further. And now with the James Webb telescope, we can see so far back into time and space. And it's kind of the same thing. I had this, like, my reticle and my aperture opened enough for me to be able to see further back into my distance. And I landed right on 2016 and that conversation. Because I was on the same street just going a different direction when that conversation happened and that relationship ended. And I realized that if that thing didn't happen, my wife and I don't look at each other and go, hey, instead of going to Big Bear for New Year's like we always do, let's get the hell out of Dodge. And we went to Europe and we absconded, just the two of us. And we started thinking about, what does our life look like now without this dynamic? And maybe there is room for other people, and maybe that other person is a baby. Maybe we could do this. And then my son is born in 2018, and now it's 2020, and I've got a 2-year-old, and I can't imagine my life being any different. And I loved it. I realized that all of those things, all those moments of opportunity and failure and experimentation and pain and sorrow actually led to the greatest source of joy in my entire life. And so I went, I no longer hate that moment. That's no longer trauma. That's actually my origin story. And he is my superhero. So if you can find that moment in your life that you feel now brings you the greatest amount of pain, and somehow through some process of finding joy and happiness where you're at right now, realize that those two are quantumly entangled, and you can't have one without the other. And this moment of okay makes that moment okay as well.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
There's a difference between authenticity and access.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that I learned, is that I thought that I needed to come out here and be a rock star. I mean, first look at me. I'm a lot. I legitimately had a discussion with my wife this morning about which shoes I should wear.
So is this your wife's choice or your?
This is my wife's choice.
And are you happy with your?
I am. She's right. Because the other shoes were just, it was just too much. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's coming from this guy. But I look at it and I go, you don't want a rock star. You know what you want is a friend. There's two things that I think I realize this about myself, and I bet everyone here that's gathered in these chairs under this incredible, look at this structure. It's like the Borg built this. You know what I mean? I would wager that everybody here, at least a large majority of people that are here, really need to know two things, and that's it. One, I'm not alone. And two, I am enough. Those two things, I know for me, I needed to not hear those things, learn those things, understand those things. I needed to believe those things. That I am not alone, that there's other nerds that are just like me, that are into the same weird shit as me, that sit and think about their 5 favorite Batman animated series episodes too much. Robin's Reckoning, Robin's Reckoning, Day of the Samurai, Night of the Ninja, Perchance to Dream. Robin's Reckoning 1 and 2, of course. I'm not alone. And the thing that I've learned about through my son is that dude is like, he's like a quasar. He's like this condensed neutron star because he came with everything that he needed. And it's just, I've been watching that thing open and unfold like a lotus flower for the last 6 years. But he had everything he needed. Donner's Superman. Has everybody seen it? Who has not seen Richard Donner's Superman? 78 Superman. Okay, passion and art. I love you. Please watch it. I say this, Travis Willingham is my best friend to this day. Superman is 100% his number one superhero. I think Superman's a weak superhero. I don't think he's a great superhero. That is all to Kirby and everybody else. I respect what they did. It worked really, really well in 1926 or whatever, 1936, whenever it came out. Batman was better. But Richard Donner's Superman specifically is such a beautiful piece of art that has absolutely nothing to do with the superhero. It has everything to do with the human. And the thing that I love is in the very beginning, you'll see this, Marlon Brando, who plays Jor-El, places Kal-El into the pod, and he says, everything that I have, everything that I am, I bequeath to you, my son. And he puts this one green crystal into the pod. This is all that I have to give you. And you realize, and you'll see this, you probably have seen clips of it before, but as he's flying through space from Krypton inevitably and inexorably to Earth, and he's growing, he's hearing his voice of his father that's giving him all the wisdom and all the resources and all of the tools and all of the love and all of the information that he needed. And that happened to my son. He got all of the wisdom, all the information, everything. It's just my job as his dad and my wife's job as his mom to go, let me help you unpack that. But you were born here with it. You arrived, crash landed in front of us with everything that you possibly needed. We're just here to help you unpack it. And the things that my parents didn't do for me and the things that your parents didn't do for you, that's what therapy is for. That's what you get to do as a 48-year-old and go, they never showed me how to unpack this. But it doesn't mean that you haven't had it your entire life. It's been inside of you the whole time. It's just now incumbent upon you, for those of you who have left your parents' house, to unpack that for yourself. And you do that with your friends. You do that with the things that you watch, the books that you read, the games that you play, the conversations that you have, the stories that you hear and the stories that you tell. That's how you unpack your superpower and you're a superhero. I'm on fire today, y'all.
You are. I'm like, this is it. Like,
oh, it's Sunday. That's what it is. That's what it is. You guys came to church.
You're making it very, this is the easiest panel. I'm like, yeah.
Is this the easiest?
I'm like, yeah, man.
It's like 8 seconds at the rodeo. Just squeeze your legs and hang on.
I've got a very random question to ask before we go to fan questions.
Okay.
So we're going to go to fan questions shortly. I don't know where Christina is with the mic, but she'll be here soon.
Hillary, thank you very much.
There she is.
Thank you.
Please, can we have a round of applause for Christina, lovely stage manager? Okay. When you're, I always ask voice actors this question. When you're in the house on your own, no one's around, do you sing or talk to yourself in your characters' voices?
Oh my God. Not even necessarily my characters.
Oh, really?
Just characters. And what's really cool, who has kids? Okay. Yeah. Who has kids 10 or younger?
Nope.
Just one. Okay. So, okay. For those of you who have, passed on now into adolescence and out of the toddler phase, I'm realizing now I want my son to be more talented than me, and he's already showing me that he's got that. He is so good at mimicking and voices, but it's funny because I have to be very careful about some of the voices that I do, because he will do them. And I'm like, you can't go to school doing that one. So I very rarely talk in my own voice, to be honest with you. I'll be in my car, I'll be just going, and I go in crazy, some people. And it's not even just the voice, it's the whole thing. There's this German who's just so tired and very bored with everything. So, do you want eggs with your toast this morning, or is it just the coffee? It drives my wife crazy.
On your own or to
either on my own, or she'll walk in the room, and we're at the point in our marriage where it's not weird anymore. Normally, if you just find someone doing the dishes under the stain, right? They'd be like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I'm just gonna go." And they'll flow. Yes, you got a fella gonna do something about that. Going what? I might go out to the truck first of all and find out. I'll take the trash cans out too. It's just constant. It's just a litany of lunacy happening in my house constantly. If you my Ring camera, God alone, is just blackmail at this point. It's just somebody at Ring, if they ever wanted to just, I'm going to retire, be like, Mr. Baker, we have these videotapes of you, and please put on pants in the morning when you go. So yeah, it's your job should be an extension of who you are. It should not be the ransom for the person that you want to be. You should be doing you, playing the role of you in everything that you do. And so I do this all the time. It's just the difference is I do it in specific locations sometimes for a specific reason, and they give me money for it. That's the only difference. The caveat to that is that I do not seek those opportunities to fulfill me in any way. In the same way that art does not exist to fulfill the artist. You can't look at this and go, I'm just not happy with this. Not your place, dude. Your job is to fart it out. To get it out of your being. It came from the ethos, from the ether, from space, wherever, through you as a willing vessel for all of us to experience, agnostic of your view of it. God, don't criticize your own work. Are you kidding me? Learn from it, sure. But don't decide whether it's good or bad. Not your place. You are not the spectator. You are the creator. So if you make a video, which is a great opportunity, by the way, to express yourself as a creator, send the first draft or don't send it at all. Don't iterate upon your idea, just get it out and let people see. I'm so tempted right now. I'm learning Japanese, so is Traveler, and he's crushing it. We speak to each other in Japanese. He's 6! Proud of my boy. I'm playing drums. I started playing drums when I was 12 years old, and I learned how to play improperly, and so I'm now relearning the right way to do it. And I'm so tempted to do lives on TikToks where other drummers teach me how to play, and it's not because I subscribe to some. Have you seen that one guy? He's Argentinian. He's one of the best drummers in the world. He's just insane how good he is. He breaks the laws of physics with how well he can play. I want to be the guy that goes, I want you to see where I'm starting so that you can appreciate where I'll end up. And I want to normalize learning and being bad and the novice and the apprenticeship level because we have plenty of masters. And that's what we like and that's what we follow as we go, oh my God, these people are so good. It's so amazing. It blows my mind. And the reason why we do that is because Ralph Waldo Emerson said that all of history exists for the sake of a single person. We look at the pyramids, we go, a human built that. I'm human and I can do greatness. We watch the Olympics because I may not be able to pole vault and break something with, but a human did that and I'm human, so I'm capable of greatness. So there's nothing wrong with appreciating mastery, but I also want to appreciate the apprenticeship level. And I want to watch someone, if we could go back in time to the 90s memes and be able to find the Star Wars kid, and maybe like he ended up being like, he could have doubled for Darth Maul. We have no idea, but to follow his journey from oops to greatness, that's the story that we all need to participate in.
Exactly. Are you enjoying the sermon?
Jesus, man. Homilies with Troy Baker.
Let's get Christina up here. Just going to take your fan questions. So if you've got any questions for Troy, please queue up in the middle here. And please be polite to one another and be mindful of your fellow fans. Okay.
And a light on you too. It was a dark and stormy night. Wow.
Speak,
Hi.
young man. Hello there. What's your name and question?
Hi, my name is Brendan, and my question is, when it came to singing Future Days by Pearl Jam, how was it decided that was going to be the song perfectly describing Ellie and Joel's relationship in The Last of Us Part 2?
Brendan, what an amazing question. It is equal parts Pearl Jam, Neil Druckmann, and Fate. So I don't get nervous very often. If I do, I feel that's my own insecurities and ego that's creeping up. He can take his question off the air. It's fine. But when the whole notion of Joel even playing guitar and Ellie being an astronaut came from us being on set during some downtime and Neil going, what would you have been if you hadn't become an actor? And I was like, I always wanted to be a singer. And I thought that's how I was going to set the world on fire, as being a musician. And fate said no. And instead gave me this, much better version. I looked at Ashley and goes, what about you? And without missing a beat, Ashley goes, astronaut. And we went, it tracks. And so fast forward to us doing part 2, actually even in between, for One Night Live, this live stage performance that we did, and actually put scenes from The Last of Us up on a stage, Neil goes, I have an idea for a special scene. And there was a song that Neil could play, and he still to this day can play it better than me on guitar. Neil would play for his daughter, and it was Future Days. And that's what he would sing her every night. And so he goes, I have this scene where Joel's going to sing. He always said he was going to teach Ellie how to play guitar, and he's going to sing this song. And I was like, don't make me do that, dude. Because the weight and the pressure that I feel of knowing how much this means to you. And so we do that for One Night Live, and it goes over like just a box of fireworks. It was amazing. And then we see that scene is going to be in the game. And more than any other scene, I think I got more nervous with that scene just because I knew what it meant to Neil. And all I wanted to do is live up to his expectation of it. And I think that scene is better than all of our expectations because of the teamwork that went into it and how much love and attention from everybody that worked on that game to make that scene what it is. But what I love now is, I don't know if you've seen this clip, Neil is now friends with Pearl Jam. And that's like, he's trying to pinch himself because it's such a dream come true. But hearing Eddie Vedder saying, I want to dedicate this song to Joel and Ellie, and for all the people that when they get lost in the darkness, they look for the light, at the Ohana Fest this last September, last week. That to me is the full circle of one guy having a dream and seeing it come to fruition. And not only that Eddie Vedder knows about Joel and Ellie, but that you know about Joel and Ellie, and that you can sit here and ask me that question and going, how is that the perfect story? My friend, it's Neil Druckmann, Pearl Jam, and Fate.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, my friend. What's your name and question?
Hi there, my name is Stephanie. My question was that Uncharted, it's such an iconic series, so beloved by others. And like, how was it joining in the fourth game?
as I said, I don't get nervous often, but the other time that I got nervous was my first day on set for Uncharted. And at this point, I've known Nolan and Richard and Emily. But then I stepped foot on stage, and we'd done rehearsal and everything else, but I was back in one part of the stage where the actors hang out, these little couches on stage. And then I look, and I'm seeing, they're doing one scene before I get in there, and I hear action. And I watch Nolan North, Richard McGonigal, and Emily Rose transform into Nate, Sully, and Elena. And I go, oh, shit. I'm on set of Uncharted. And in 2006, I was doing a really, really bad movie in Texas. And it was January, it was cold. The movie was awful. The hotel was awful. It was just not a great experience. And a friend of mine, as a token of commiseration, said, hey, I'm going to let you borrow my PS3, and you need to play this game called Uncharted. And so every night from set, I would go home and go consider my life choices and try to think about how I could get out of this movie. And I would play Uncharted. And I realized that the way that they shot that game was the way that we were shooting the movie, just a better version of it. And that if they were in a Jeep, they built a Jeep and they were in a Jeep. And it was actors on a stage interacting with each other, and it felt different and it felt real. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And to flash forward to now, all of a sudden, I'm on set of that franchise. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. And I get to play Nate Drake's older brother, and I'm way younger than Nolan. I like saying that. But the friendship, it is truly the friendships that we made along the way. But all I wanted to do was be someone that was a red shirt in Uncharted and died, and to be able to play, to me, was one of the greatest characters in that franchise. True honor, and I'm filled with gratitude.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Hello, my dear. What is your name? What's your question?
Hi, Troy. My name is Delaney. It's lovely to see you again.
Of course it is, Delaney. Of course it is. Passion and art, what you got?
Well, my question is surrounding music. I know we've spoken about it quite a bit, but I understand in BioShock Infinite, you played Bookie DeWitt, who plays that amazing scene with Elizabeth, as well as obviously Joel playing guitar. I just wanted to ask, what has music meant to you as a voice actor within these projects? How have you brought that in, and what has that, helped you evolve? And also, what's been your favorite part about that entire experience?
For the longest time, I considered my musical endeavors a failure because I, again, attribute it to how much money is this making? How much success do I have? And when I was trying to be in a band, we were always one showcase away, one single away from hitting. And when you're in Dallas, you either explode and you become, the next big thing, or you sit and stagnate and become the band that used to headline at the club. And so I was like, this was who I'll always be, is just someone who's now trying to do a vanity project. And I put out 2 albums. We could get into the mire of that later. But to me, the fusion of those two, of music, and first of all, I still relate everything to music. The way that I think about how scenes work, I'll make musical references all the time. Is like, this is very much the drums aren't mixed kind of demo. So I still incorporate all of the lessons, and I hear the musicality in scenes, and I think about the flow of how everything works because of music, and still have such a deep love for music. But now what I'm able to do is, and I love that these specific moments that Brendan, you brought up, and now you bring up as well, Delaney, is these moments of infusing music into these characters and thus into the story have not been me putting them in, but it's been Ken Levine going, I've got an idea for a scene, or Neil going, I've got an idea for a scene. Hideo Kojima going, I've got an idea for a really weird idea for a scene. Can't wait for you guys to see it. So for me, it's about reminding myself to allow music to lead me as opposed to me pushing it. I have songs that I wrote for Joel that maybe one day I'll put out. So for me, it's about, I'm glad that I am emancipated from the necessitation of music being a vocation and it remaining a recreation. I still love to play music, and I still feel like I get to do that. At the end of the day, I'm not a musician, I'm not an actor, I'm not a director, I'm a storyteller, and so are you. And so we all have that commonality, regardless of what our profession is or what it says on our LinkedIn is. We still are telling our story, even if you're making a coffee. You're making a coffee and you're telling a story. So as long as I get a chance to tell my story, if it's on a stage with music or if it's on a stage with a camera, I'm happy.
Thank you,
Jillian.
so much. Thank you. Hello, my friend. What's your name and question?
Hi, I'm Isaiah. So I imagine you put a lot of time and effort and passion into becoming Joel. Yeah. So my question is, when you found out about Joel's death, how did that make you feel? Like, what was your reaction to it?
I love this question.
Do you wish the story would have went differently, or the script?
When did you ask me? I mean, depends on when you ask me, right? So when we were doing part 1, I was even talking about, like, you know what you should do, Neil, is you should do this. And that is by no means to say that I am credited with that idea. What I love is that Neil was like, I'm just telling this story right now. I'm not even thinking about a franchise. I'm not thinking about part 2. And then after Left Behind won the all of the awards, where Neil and I were in London, actually, and he goes, so I have an idea for part 2. I said, okay. And he goes, so Joel dies. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I got to think about it as a hypothetical. And then about a year later, he goes, I think I have the story. I would love for you to come over to the house and let me walk you through beat by beat. And so I go into his study, and he starts telling me the story. And I start crying. And I was like, give me just a second, man. Because now it was as if someone had just told me that a friend of mine had just died. But it still wasn't real. And then I get the script months later, 6 months later, maybe. And now I'm angry. And I'm like, you can't do this. Not like this. And Neil and I have had 3 arguments in our big arguments in our relationship. And we've become better friends and collaborators because of it, by the way. Neither of us are afraid of confrontation. We'll rush headlong into it. And I wrestled with it. And now we're on stage. And I'm not going to get into the whole story because I'll cry every time. But then we're shooting the scene on stage, and now I'm dealing with it in a completely different way. And then the game, right before the game comes out, the leaks happen. And now I'm dealing with it in a different way. And then I play the game, and I'm bawling. And then I get to right after with the house, and I'm like, I text Neil at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was like, the house is the funeral and the wake. It is the mourning and the celebration of this man. So what you're seeing is there's multiple stages. So when someone comes up to me, I hope you're here. Someone came up to me at a different show, and he says, I got to that point in The Last of Us, and I stopped playing. And you told me to keep playing, and I finally did. And that was a year ago. And he goes, I'm so grateful that I did. And I'll never forget, Neil asked me one time, he goes, right when the leaks happened, he goes, do you think we made a mistake? And I said, I don't know, Neil, I haven't played it yet. And that to me is where we should all remain, is critical, sure, but you better have experienced it. Critique without information is the epitome of arrogance and ignorance. It's just a cocktail of those two things. If you've experienced it and you feel that it's bad, great, awesome. Did you play it? Yeah, that's all I care about. Did you experience the story? Hate it, I don't care. I made you feel something. But if I didn't do my job that made you see the story through, and then I failed. But I understand everybody that comes up to me and says, I'm wrestling with this. I'm like, so did I. Just play it. And then tell me what you think. If on the other side of it you hate it, we can agree to disagree. But if you've at least experienced, then I've done my job. Thank you, Isaiah.
We've got time for 2 more questions. So
Bailey!
This person and the person behind and everyone else, I don't want to look at you in the eyes, but please, you have to sit down.
Come see me at the table and ask me these questions. I'll be here.
Because you're here the whole day.
I'm here the whole day.
Yeah. Okay, my love. What's your name and question?
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Courtney. And first of all, I just want to say that The Last of Us has impacted my life so much that my fiance and I are actually going to be dancing to Future Days as and specifically your version of Future Days
I'm honored.
at our wedding. My question for you is, what was it like returning to the world of The Last of Us with a TV series and working with Craig Mazin?
A quick story. So Craig was very kind, and he and Neil both were like, we have to spiritually connect these two. And so it was never this, hey, wouldn't it be funny if wink, wink, we kind of included the cast, but it was, we want to honor their performance by bringing them in. And so when Neil came to me, he goes, I want you to play James. I said, man, thank you. Who's James? And he goes, the guy with the thing, the buddy boy. I was like, oh. And I got to read the script, and I was like, man, because we have a huge challenge with that episode specifically is winter is one of my favorite parts in the game. Because if you haven't played Last of Us Part 1, this has been a really interesting panel for you. One of my favorite moments in The Last of Us is not a cinematic moment, it's actually a gameplay moment. And it's the first time that camera swings around and goes over the right shoulder of Ellie, and now you're on the stick and you push forward on the left stick and she moves. How do you do that with $180 million? How do you do that? And so Craig understood that as a gamer. He was like, I have to re-narrativize this moment so that we still have impact, but we're not relying on the same tools because I don't have them. So instead, we get to flip around and actually show you what these people were like, and we humanize these people, which makes them far more terrifying. And I'll never forget my first day on set. I'm sitting there, and I'm used to Neil, and I don't have Neil. I got Craig as a showrunner, but I have Ali Abbasi, who's our director, hidden somewhere in the woods. And are we rolling? We're rolling. And they're just go. And it's not like, okay, so here's what's at stake at the scene. I didn't have the conversation like Neil and I would have every night. I'm on my own. But I'm sitting there, and it's freezing cold. And we're by this beautiful river out in the woods. I've got real snow at my feet. I'm wearing not a spandex unitard. And I've got a fake rifle, and there's a fake dead deer at my feet. And I just go, we're about to go pick her up. And I go, oh, man. And Scott Shepard goes, what are you doing, dude? Lock it up. This is a serious scene. I'm like, I look over and I'm like, dude, if you only knew how weird this was. I've played this scene. It was surreal. It was absolutely surreal. And the only thing that I wanted out of everybody who worked on that show, but especially out of Pedro, I was like, teach me something about The Last of Us. Teach me something about Joel that I missed. What did I overlook? What stone did I not overturn? And damned if they didn't do it every episode where I was like, I never thought about that. I never considered that. I could not be happier, could not be more proud, could not feel more comfortable about this role and this story being in those hands. Period, full stop. And I will say this, whenever someone comes up to me, I'm going to say this preemptively. If you come up and you go, you're the only one that can play Joel. I tell you now as a pat answer, I appreciate the sentiment, but I reject the notion because I don't want to be the last person that plays Joel. I don't want Pedro Pascal to be the last person that plays Joel. I don't want you to be the last person that plays Joel. I want this character to be the most iterated upon, most played character that we've ever seen in any form of narrative ever. I want to see him on the stage in the West End. I want to see him on the stage on Broadway. I want to see him in more games. I want to see him in books. I want to see him in your fan art. I want to see him in cosplay. Then we will have created a character that exists beyond one actor's performance or two, but now is proliferated throughout the world and is permeated in the consciousness of people because it makes you question the villainy, the humanity, and the hero of a person. And that's what we wanted to do with Joel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your engagement.
Congratulations. Have a great first dance. You are The Last of Us.
Yes.
Yes, hello. Name and question, please.
Hi, I'm Adam. And I was wondering, what is it like to see Joel go from this video game character who has a large audience for video games, but for more mainstream audiences is less known, go to TV and that more mainstream vision of a screen, of a television, and how you see that and how like it all worked out.
I didn't get many opportunities without, obviously, Courtney going off on your answer as well, but I didn't get many opportunities with The Last of Us to go, I have no idea what's about to happen next. And then we get to episode 3. And then, because in The Last of Us in the game, Frank is a dude swinging on a rope with a bad Hawaiian shirt. And what I love is that Craig and Neil both were like, we have an opportunity here to tell a different story. And I remember before the show even came out, Craig just goes, we just got to get them to episode 3. If we get them to episode 3, we own them. And he was right, because I guarantee for the people that have seen that episode, you will never think about strawberries and never hear long, long time again without thinking of The Last of Us. And that is through the beauty of Murray Bartlett and Nick Offerman, but it's also through the director, the writer, the DP, everybody that worked on that show. That specific episode wanted to show what love looks like in that world and the beauty that we can find. It really goes back to the very beginning of The Last of Us, when they first saw that planet Earth thing and they saw how the cordyceps fungus became this beautiful crystallized thing, and the beauty that emerges from truly the horrific. And that, to me, is what that episode is all about. So that was a surprise to me. There were surprises that I saw from the performances, surprises that I saw to the storylines, even the very beginning, the opening in the first. That was the last thing that they shot, by the way, is the introduction with the kind of the Dick Cavett interview that they do with John Hannah. And there's going to be stuff in season 2 that you're not expecting. And there's stuff that I've already seen that I think Neil Druckmann gets the best episode. I'm a little biased. But that episode made me cry twice, and one of those things I'd never seen before. So I think that the beauty of this is not that the TV show or the film is not the alpha form of these things. It is complementary, supplementary, but more than anything, I asked Neil this. Why are we doing the show? We've already shot it. We've already scored it. We've put it out and people accept it. If they don't want to pick up a controller, then maybe they should just play the game. And he goes, I care too much about Joel and Ellie's story to keep it from people that will never experience it. So I will bring it to them. So that's why your job as an artist is to bring your art to the people. I'll tell you this for anybody that brings me fan art today. It takes bravery. It takes talent to make art, but it takes courage to share it. And you are compelled as an artist to share your art. Don't keep it for yourself. And again, share the first draft or don't share it at all. I have an entire text thread of drafted, never sent. And some of that is just for me. But instead of posting something online to all of your followers, send a text to one person and say, I love you. Share that joke with one person and not 500 or 1,000 or 50,000 or whomever. Make your art personal, and I guarantee you it will connect far more than going viral.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you, Adam.
question.
I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And thank you.
Troy, thank you very much.
My absolute
It's been
pleasure.
wonderful.
Hey there, this is Nolan North, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Good for you. Very proud of you. Now go watch more. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom. I like that. I like it a lot.